So if I gotta handle everything on my own, what's the point of me being in a relationship with you? If I gotta do the things that I normally wouldn't have to do and I'm with somebody, what is your purpose of being around? Why deal with you? Why deal with me? Ask yourself the same question. If you got to do all the things that, the reason why you're in a relationship, the reason why it's two of y'all, and you still doing a two-person job by yourself, why am I with you? Why are you with me? Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm going to explain all that later. Y'all already know what it is. Let's start the show.
Ever been left speechless by the ridiculousness of modern dating? Or maybe you're more old school. Yeah. Like, seriously, what were we thinking with those pickup lines in the 90s? This is I'll Explain All This Later, the podcast where we dissect the crazy world of relationships. From dating app disasters to in-law interventions, we'll cover it all. Now, some of our takes might be a little hot, but hey, that's what you get when you press play and tune in. We'll explain the logic behind it all. Eventually. Anyway, let's dive in. Here are your hosts, Big Smash, Nira Muhammad, and Rose Gold.
Y'all already know what it is. Tonight, today, this evening, this episode is about togetherness versus independence. Very interesting topic tonight. Mm-hmm. We got Rose in the building. What up?
Yo, yo, yo.
All right, so listen, right? I just want to say I can be very independent, but if I'm with you, there's no reason for me to be, okay? I shouldn't have to wash my own clothes. I can, but I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to cook my own meals. I can, but I shouldn't have to. All right? Rose, tonight's episode is one partner feels suffocated by the other's constant need for attention. How do you feel about independence in a relationship? Is it important to you? Or do you believe in being clingy? Do you believe in being with your person 24/7, going to the bathroom, they there? Okay? All right? Everywhere you go, they're your shadow. Mm-hmm. How you feeling?
Well, I can only speak on me personally, right? So I say for me, I am very much a busy person. So my free time is often going to be spent with my significant other, honestly. I think that I have been clingy in a relationship because I can sometimes follow the lead of the man. So a lot of times for me, if the man is clingy, then I'm clingy as well. If he kind of is spaced or wanting space, then I can tend to give that. I follow in terms of time spent, I tend to follow the lead of the man in a relationship.
So check it out. Don't give me no space. I don't want no space because I feel like, okay, I take that back. In the beginning, I need you around because I need to know your tendencies, who you are.
Okay. Right.
I need to figure you out.
I need to learn you.
Down the line, the honeymoon phase might phase out. Okay. So now, we seeing each other too much. I might need my space. But if I'm asking for my space, I still want stuff to be done. See, right now in this stage, you are training. You are training, and I am training. We are training for the relationship playoffs. Okay, we are deciding if we go good together in a relationship. We don't know this yet. So, that standing where in order to be a wife, you got to act like one. So in order to be a girlfriend, you got to act like one. I got to see how you are in this setting. I can't say we in a relationship and then you start doing girlfriend things. No, same with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I fell in love with the whole having somebody around and cooking and cleaning and helping taking care of all these kids. I fell in love with that. So
right.
That is pretty much like my standard now. Like, how good are you with kids? Can you cook? I definitely don't want no dirty person around me. We ain't doing that. So I think I love being independent. It brings a sense of closeness to me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like I said earlier, if I have to do things, a two-person job by myself, why are you here?
Well, I think I agree with that. But I also think that I don't think that it's wise on a man or a woman's behalf to do all of those things with the hopes of getting a relationship. I think that certain tasks should be reserved for being in a relationship with a person. If we're just dating, meaning just dating, we're getting to know each other, I'm not washing your clothes, fam. If we're just dating, we're getting to know each other, I'm not cooking your meals. If that's what it takes for me to have to pass the test to be in a relationship with you, that to me sounds like somebody who's looking for a wife but not looking to be a husband. To me, that's what
No,
that sounds like.
I gotta teach you, and you gotta teach me. So
Right,
what happens if I get with you and you don't know how to wash clothes? Now, what happens when I get with you and you don't know how to cook?
right,
So now I feel like now I'm pissed off because had I known you couldn't do these things,
right.
then we wouldn't be in the relationship phase. So I think I'm not fully saying you have to do all of those things every single day, but I at least want to know what I'm getting. Because anybody can say anything. They can say, "Oh, I know how to
True.
wash. I know how to do this. I know how to cook. I throw down, blah blah blah." And then you get there, and then it's like, "Oh no, this ain't it.
You don't
I
want
don't
to
want no
be.
Alfredo every day."
You
Okay.
don't want no Alfredo ranges. No, I feel that. But what I'm saying is, why does that have to be seen before we get in a relationship? During the dating phase, what the dating phase is for what exactly? If we're just dating and getting to know each other, how am I supposed to? Because in my mind, if I don't know how to do something, when we get in a relationship, you're gonna teach me. Right now, it's okay. It's one thing to date somebody
Mm,
and look for specific qualities. I get that part, but
mm.
I have a problem with the show me if you can do these things, and then I can advance us to a relationship.
See, I'm 38, right? Waiting around and taking my time and doing all that was cool at 22, 23, 25. That was cool.
Right.
I think people usually, when you're older, you know what you already want.
Mm,
Okay. I don't got time to play around with it. Like, if I see an interest,
okay.
I live in a life where you got to shoot your shot or wait in line and somebody else will take it for you.
Mm,
So, because
okay.
I remember, Miss, I don't shoot shots. So,
Yeah.
um,
That's me.
you gotta take them shots. Like me, I'm not here to waste time. I'm 38. I'm getting older by the day.
Hmm.
I feel like at this point in my life, I
Hmm.
want something real. I want
Right.
something, I have a list of boxes that I check myself.
Mm,
So when I'm checking these boxes on what I want, I'm not gonna look for something that I myself cannot give. Like
heard you.
I'm coming with the mind frame of this gonna be my last situation. I'm not thinking of another situation after this because I feel like again, when I was 24,
Hmm.
25, yeah, I was having a time of my life. I was making kids and having
Making
fun.
babies, nigga.
I didn't listen. I had 4 kids by the time I was 25. So I wasn't thinking about relationships and marriage and all that shit. But as I got older,
Right.
and I started seeing, having different women in the bed every night was cool. But then I started seeing all my homeboys locked down. You know what I'm saying? Getting with a lady and building that family life. And it's like, yo, I want that. I don't want to be an
Mm,
independent dude because I can. Like I said, I don't come to a woman. I'm not a Jody. I don't come
yeah.
to a woman and want to drive your car and cheat and do all that. I don't want to do all that. I
Right.
got my own stuff. I got my own shit.
Right.
So I love an independent woman though. You know what I'm saying? A woman that wants me but doesn't need me. Like if I'm not here,
Right.
she's still gonna do her thing. You know what I'm
Period.
saying? She's still gonna do it. But now, as far as this goes, one partner feels suffocated by the other's constant need for attention. Listen, I've been on both sides of it. Everything I was doing, she wanted to be a part of it. And at first it was cute. It was dope. I
Mm.
appreciate it. But after a while, it's like, yeah, I can't breathe. I can't move. You here, you everywhere I'm go. You wondering what I'm doing. You calling me every 5 minutes. Blah, blah, blah. Now,
Mm-hmm.
on the flip note, I've been that dude. I'm calling every 2 minutes. I'm texting. I'm FaceTiming. I'm what you
Right.
doing to death. I've been on both sides of that. So I think you have to give your partner some type of space.
Right.
Okay, because
Mhm.
otherwise you do run the risk of suffocating them and pulling them away because they feel like they have no space. They
Right.
feel closed in. claustrophobic. You got to have a perfect balance. You know what I'm saying? You got to have
Balance.
a
Yeah.
perfect equilibrium, because you got to understand each other's needs,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing and respecting their needs in their space. I mean, there are things they're going to want to do by themselves. There are things you're going to want to do by yourselves, but there are also things y'all can do together. So you got to
Exactly.
find that perfect, you got to find that balance. You know what I'm saying? You got to have open communication. It's like, yo, hang out. If we ain't living together, we ain't got to see each other every day. We could talk. We ain't got to see each other every day. So let me ask you, suffocating. How do you deal with a suffocating partner? Like, what are some of the things
Mm,
that you've encountered?
I've also been on both ends of that. I've been the suffocating partner, and I've also been the partner that has been suffocated. When I was the suffocating partner, it was because I didn't trust the person. And once I decided that I was going to trust that person, and that I just made up in my mind that I was going to trust this person, and if they did some bullshit, then I found out about it, I was going to be gone. I made that decision in my head, and like that, once I made that decision, I stopped being suffocated. I stopped wanting to be around him 24/7. I stopped calling so much because I made it up in my mind that I'm going to trust this man, and then if I found out he doing some bullshit behind my back, I'm just going to go. Now, so that's what I would say would be like was the remedy to me stopping being suffocating. I think people can be suffocating to their partner for different reasons. For me, it was a trust thing, you know. Now on
Yeah.
the other hand, as a woman that was suffocated by a male, he was extremely insecure. This was like prior to my career in like media and stuff like that. But he was just extremely insecure. And so that made him, question when I wanted to go play cards or question when I wanted to go play dominoes. He couldn't believe that women actually did stuff like that without being around other guys. I had a conversation with him. He didn't get it, and we eventually stopped dating. But if I was in that situation again, my advice would be to have a conversation with your partner. Let them know they suffocate.
Definitely had a woman who loved to be around me because she thought I was cheating. And I was. But I think it's gonna be weird with me saying this. I think that actually pulled us closer together.
You cheating?
No. Her constantly being around. Being around, I think it kind of pulled us closer together in a sense because it made me feel like she cared. And
Oh, okay.
I can't even flex. Like, it was kind of cute. Like I said, at first, it was kind of cute. It was kind of, I liked it. But
Right.
then it was just one of those things. Okay, so with being self-reliant, which was cool, that's how I learned how to cook and clean and do things like that, because I knew that I wasn't forever going to have a woman around me. There were
Right.
some days that I wanted my space. So in order to do that, you had to know how to do the things to make your house function. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
Right.
And so I cooked, I cleaned, I did laundry, simple shit. I got one daughter, so I learned how to do ponytails and stuff like that. Simple things, just in case, because one thing I've learned is nothing is for sure forever. Like,
Man.
anything can change. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Anything can change, anything can switch up. So you got to prepare yourself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know
That's
how when,
facts.
how like when people was going out buying all the waters at the stores and shit because they didn't know what was going on. You got to prepare yourself. If you get ready, you ain't got to
Yeah.
stay ready. So
Amen. Amen.
I think one of the best things about all of this is like romantic relationships. Your partner may value individual hobbies and friendships, while also cherishing shared experiences with you. So it's a balance. Like, okay, cool. I like
Hmm.
being with you, okay, but I like hanging out with the fellas. I know you
Right.
like being around me, but you like hanging out with your homegirls. Do your
Right.
thing. I think too much is too much.
I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying?
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think even if you're a couple that lives together, create intentional time, at least even if it's once a year, to be away from your partner. Still create that. Still create that space in some type of way, whether it be you going on a girls trip, whether it be him going on a boys trip, whether it be you spending a weekend with your church Friday and Saturday. Maybe y'all got kids and y'all can only afford to be away from each other 24 hours, whatever it is. I just think that that's an important element in every relationship, to create space. The
Yeah.
Bible talks about this. Like, no matter who it is, if you being a person face too much, they're going to start to resent you. It doesn't. This could be the love of your life, the perfect. This could be your rib, your perfect match. You know. But them being in your face too much will make you resent them. So I do think space is important.
And it's good sometimes to be proud of the things that you're doing. I mean, yes, you like having your partner and you like being around them, but
Right.
it's always good to have that own feeling of completeness. Like, yeah, I did that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's the
Yeah.
little things. Yeah. You don't feel so codependent.
Mm.
I've literally been in situations where, like, damn, I can't live without this woman. I can't do without this woman. So now, after my marriage was ending, I felt like, man, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Mm.
And then after a while, it became natural to me, like, you're gonna do the same shit that you've been doing before you got married.
Mm.
Get out here and do everything you're supposed to do. So that codependency went out the window after a while. It was
Mm-hmm.
hard because I
Yeah.
went from having someone with me every day to having someone take care of the kids and cook and spend quality time and watch our TV shows and shit with. It went from that to, you done moat yourself in the corner, you done cried enough, life still goes on, you still got this house to run, you got to get out here and do what you got to do. So that's what it made me feel like. It made me feel like, yo, I loved having somebody around every day.
Right.
But it's like, yo, it's not a need. Like, I don't need to have you around in order to survive. See, I be seeing some crazy ass shit. Like, these dudes be ready to knock out whole zip codes and shit for they woman or they ex. And it's just like, yo, you got this. Keep going. Like,
Right.
don't feel that dependent on somebody where, you don't have to. You can't move, you can't breathe, you can't live without them. You very
Right.
well feel that way. But
Don't show it
you
down.
gotta rely on self. And as far as, you'll have like reduced resentment
Right.
because now you don't feel smothered. You don't feel
Mm-hmm.
suffocated because,
Right.
man, like, I like my space. I like being able to go to the movies by myself. I like being able to go to the casino by myself. I like going to sports events and stuff by myself because it gives me an identity of who I am. Like, yeah, I'm in a relationship,
Right.
but I still like doing my own thing.
Right.
Now, where it comes in at where if I got to do everything by myself and I'm with you, then yeah, if I got to pay the bills of the house and all that shit by myself, because listen, no man job wants to come home, work, pay bills.
Right. That's true.
That's not why I'm put on this earth. Like,
Right.
if I got a partner, your job is to make my life easier and vice versa.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? If it's two of us,
I agree.
we can work better together because
I
it's
agree.
two of us.
I agree.
So all our problems and stuff that we going through shouldn't be that hard because it's two of us.
It's two of us.
But if I feel overwhelmed and I feel like I'm the only one putting in 100%, I'm going to start looking at the door. The door and everything in front of it, all the other women, all the titties, all the BBLs and all that shit becomes attractive now because what I'm getting at home, I feel like I'm overwhelmed. I'm doing everything by myself. So now, listen, I'm only going to have a couple conversations. You know what I'm saying? You could tell, and vice versa. I've been told, okay, look, I need you to do more.
Okay.
Yeah, you pay the bills. Yeah, you make sure I'm good. Yeah, you do this. But you still out here fucking around because you handling shit in the house that don't give you a hall pass to do all the bullshit you doing outside the house. And
Right.
I had to think about that. I was dealing with women. I was paying the bills. Kids was good, food was in the house, things like that, but I was out here being me. And I felt like because I was doing all of this, I deserved some freedom. I deserved some space. I deserved to go out here and sow my royal oats.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that. Not saying it was right, but at that time, I was 21, 22, 23. I had my own shit. Money was good. Money was coming in. You couldn't tell me nothing. Kids was straight. They didn't have to worry about nothing. So I felt like, yeah, I'm going to do my thing. And, if you didn't oblige to what I wanted, because I still was in a relationship and I still felt like I had to be myself. And just because I'm in a relationship doesn't mean I was going to change. So what are some ways, right, that you can navigate through, clinginess and suffocation without, making the other person feel unwanted?
Yeah, I know exactly if I understand you correctly. So you don't want to just tell your partner, I need space. I would never leave with something like that, right?
Mm,
But I think
mm,
that it's important. Communication is key. There's always a reason to clinginess, especially if it's new. If it's the honeymoon phase and the honeymoon phase is over, then I think that, the honeymoon phase being over, a conversation can be had about us having our regular life. But I feel like if your partner is being too clingy or they're too much on you, then you have to
mm.
tell them. It's just no way around. You have to let them know that they are
Okay.
being too clingy, and then be willing to have specific examples. I get off work at 5 o'clock. You call me at 5 o'clock on the dot. I like to go to Starbucks on Western with my friends on Fridays at 3 p.m. You're starting to come there just to see what I'm doing, just popping up, saying hi. Have specific examples of what clinginess means to you. Because, everybody's definition of clinginess don't mean the same thing. But I wanna kind of tweak the conversation. I want to answer your question, and then I want to follow up with something if you don't mind, because I think this is important.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I want us to answer your question by saying, if your partner is being too clingy, you have to tell them that they're being too clingy, and then get to the bottom of why. Why has your behavior all of a sudden changed? Why all of a sudden that when I get off work at 5 o'clock, you calling me right on the dot? Where did this clinginess come from? How can we, if it's trust, why you don't trust me? What's going on? What can I do to help you trust me? Whatever the case may be. But I do want to be clear and say that sometimes if you have a person that is maybe immature and they may not be ready to step into their full potential as an adult, sometimes people can, use things like I need space as a test, or like to play games. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So what I'm saying is that if you know that you're not a clingy person and somebody is accusing you of being clingy, listen very carefully to the things that they're saying that you're doing that are clingy. Because sometimes people try to trick you into thinking that you like them more than you actually do. Sometimes people try to trick you into thinking that you're insecure when you're really not. Sometimes people
Yeah.
try to trick you into thinking you clingy when you really not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
So I think for me, sometimes it was a secure thing, a trust thing, because I don't know, I was living foul. So turn your location on, all that shit, which the old me, I wouldn't have done that shit. When I
Right?
got married, in order to validate her trust,
Mm-hmm.
I started turning locations on and doing all that shit, even though I felt like, man, this shit is a bit too much. But
Mm-mm.
if it's going to reassure her,
Mm-hmm.
you got to do it.
Especially
You
if
got to
you're
do it.
responsible for breaking her trust.
Yeah. And so now if you got to call me at 5 o'clock, I get off at 5 and you calling me at 5:01, cool. If I got to, reassure you for a limited time, okay? Say a month or so. I'll play this role with you for a month and rebuild your trust and do all this. But if this is a constant thing after a month, you still don't trust me, man, listen, we might have to go ahead on and take some space. And for me, I was the king of we need to take some space. But in other words, it was I really want to go fuck and I don't want to cheat. So if we take some space, you can't really say that I was cheating because I took some space. Now, if I told you, man, I need to clear my head and I got
Mm-hmm.
things going on in my life and I need to take some space, cool. But really me saying I need to take some space is really like I'm finna go fuck.
Right.
And then once I'm done exploring the lay of the land, I listen, I'm ready to be back together again.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I feel like if I didn't cheat, I still value cheating was my independence. I needed that. I needed that space to have I need to be able to cheat in peace. That's how I felt. I
Mm.
needed to not have you blowing my phone up 50 million times, wondering where I am, calling around looking for me. None of that. So I felt like, all right, listen, I gotta let you go.
Mm.
And eventually I'ma hold on. I'ma let you go, but I got you on a rope. Cause I ain't gonna let you go too far. But just understand, like, sometimes, and ladies and gentlemen, just because a motherfucker wants space don't mean they want to go cheat.
Facts.
Maybe they just really just want
They
space.
genuinely, truly need space. Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. Yeah.
Because that light bulb goes on when a motherfucker like me, especially if you was dealing with a motherfucker like me, that light bulb is going on like, we going so good. Now all of a sudden this motherfucker want a break. He wants space. She wants space.
Right.
Is it another bitch? Is it another chick? Is it another dude? Like, these are questions. These are legit questions. Don't get it twisted. But we got to stop thinking every time somebody want to get separate from us,
Right.
it's for someone else.
Right.
Sometimes separation is for self, because you have a lot of people who have never been in real relationships.
Facts.
They've never understood what a real relationship is. So sometimes in the things that y'all doing, the quality time, the gift giving, the sexual relations, all of that might be new for them. And a person that's never been in love or never been loved properly, and they come into something where they love properly, whoa. This feel different here. I ain't never experienced this. So sometimes the space is for them. In order for their growth to occur, the space is for them.
Facts.
So I think for me,
Facts, 100%.
I think for me, when you constantly want to know my every move, because everybody that I dealt with knew, or at one point or another, I was for the streets. So I couldn't be mad at them because they wanted that security, they wanted that. But now, what irritates me is when I know I ain't doing shit, and you out here reaching for shit that ain't there. When I know I'm being committed, when I know I'm being faithful, when I know I'm being loving and loyal and all that, and you out here reaching for shit, that's gonna make me feel like, yeah, this togetherness ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
Well, I want to respond to that real quick, Ken, and I want to just validate your feelings by saying your feelings are very real, and there's no such thing as your feelings being right or wrong. Okay, our feelings are just our feelings, right? But I do want to just say, because a lot of brothers actually feel that way. There were two things that you said. You started off with, for a limited amount of time. And I just want to tell you what the research says. You know that my background is in mental health, all those types of things. And from the time that you break a person's trust, okay, so let's say today I tell you that I love you, and then tomorrow you find out that I stole your wallet. So tomorrow will be August 3rd. So from August 3rd, 2024, it is going to take the average, so it could be more, it could be less than this, an average of 2 years of consistent behavior for my brain to not think that you're going to steal from me anymore. Okay? And so I'm saying that because, like I said, that's an average, so it could be less than that, it could be more than that. When we cause a person pain, we can't put a time limit on how long it takes them to heal. When you cause a person pain, the best healing that you can do for them is remaining consistent. They may have flashbacks, but a lot of people don't know, and why I have been so vocal with my content about things like cheating. A lot of people don't know that when a person is cheated on, the same parts of their brain light up as a person who experienced post-traumatic stress from war. Meaning that cheating on a woman too much can literally make her mentally ill. She can have small triggers, like the smell of certain things, the way you may look, you missing her phone call. Anything could really and truly trigger her. And that's why sometimes, and I hate to say this, and I am not pro-divorce. I think you should do everything in your power to avoid it. But I think that a lot of times it's easier once you have cheated on somebody to move on, because the work to repairing that trust can be so great.
You got to have a certain kind of trust. You got to let that person and that woman rock. And they're going to appreciate you a lot more because you're giving them the space to be them. You're not forcing them to be around or forcing yourself into their space. They will welcome you into their space when they're ready, because a lot of times it takes a lot of people some time to warm up to new people. You know what I'm saying? You can't just come through the gate and just start coming in, invading my space. Like, at the end of the day, I got to welcome you into my space. I got to welcome you into the things that we're doing and how we're doing them. And if I like the pace that we're going, I'm going to elevate. I'm going to elevate the pace. I'm going to switch the pace up. I'm going to grow. I'm going to build. I'm going to love. I'm going to do what I got to do for the simple fact of I like you. I like having you around. And if I like having you around, then everything else works. everything else fits. Everything else comes together. So a lot of times we'll sit here and we'll act like we don't want people in our space, but in all actuality, we do. You just have to earn and trust and allow yourself to, let that person welcome you in at their own pace. You can't change the dynamics up because you feel like, hey, okay, yeah, now I want to be in their space. Now I want to be around them. Now I want to be with them. Now I'm going to have them the way that I want. Because at the end of the day, you push people away. I've had several people push me away, and it wasn't their fault. It wasn't because I didn't like them or I didn't want them. It was just, I have to trust you to let you in my space. So I'm independent. I'm standoffish. I'm doing all these things for the moment because at this point in time, this is where I need to be. This is how I need it to be. This is how I need it to go.
Facts.
So I'm not going to sit here and pressure anyone to let me into their space because you will run people away doing that.
Right.
You'll run
Forcing
people away
yourself
and
into their
you'll
space.
scare them off. And I've seen it. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about
The
forcing
importance
yourself
of
into people's
togetherness
space?
is you got a deeper connection. You got a strong support system because you got a partner who stands with you, rides with you, fights with you, knows the ups and downs about you. They take their time to know you. So, y'all got shared goals. Y'all collaborating on things. Y'all collaborating on how to handle whatever roadblock that comes y'all way. Y'all in one accord. You in sync. You know how to, move as one, as a unit. So the togetherness aspect of it is having respect for boundaries, like respect my space and I'm going to respect yours, honor each other's needs for a long time and shared activities. Quality time because you're prioritizing your shared experiences while also respecting individual pursuits. Like for me, podcasting. I love podcasting. So sometimes I might want you to come along. Sometimes I might be on my own solo journey. It happens, So mutual support, encourage each other's personal space, personal growth, your goals, flexibility. That's a key one. You got to be open to change.
Facts.
Things change. People's hobbies and goals change. So you got to be flexible with that, though.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And again, you got to be welcoming. I'm going to welcome you into my space when the time is right and vice versa. That's something you can't force.
Facts.
And you run the risk of forcing people off of you once you start to become too forceful in the situation. And I really want people to understand there is no one-size-fit-all answer here. You got to find that balance on your own. You got to find that because, y'all in this. Y'all got to figure out that comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have to figure out what works for y'all. You can't listen to TV and movies and radio and all these things because what worked for them might not necessarily work for you.
Facts.
So you got to have that balance. Like, it's cool to be independent. It's cool to do your own thing. It's cool to, relax and let things linger the way that they do. Don't force it.
Don't force it.
If that person want their space, give them their space. If you need your space, get your space. Because a frustrated, depressed person is not good for a relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's not good at all to be sitting here trying to force your way to be happy, knowing that you're irritated and frustrated because you miss the things that you used to do that you can no longer do in a relationship. Right. And I feel like this, if I got to pay my bills and take care of kids and, do all the couple shit by myself, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Why am I here with you? Why are we with each other? Why are we in this? Sometimes, man, listen, I probably just need 30 minutes to an hour on Madden when I get off work. That's my thing. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I probably just want to sit here and chill, watch the game before I start getting into it with the missus. Like, let me unwind, let me decompress. Sometimes I don't even need space from you. Sometimes I just need space in the house. Like, just sit here, have a drink, smoke some, because I know people out here sometimes the day took a toll. So sometimes it's cool to just, all right, I'm gonna take a break for a second before I come unwind. You know
Right.
how people sit in their car? People sit in their car before they walk in the house because they getting ready to get unpacked. Like that was me. I would sit on the porch before I walked in the house. I didn't hate walking in the house. I just felt like, all right, if I'm gonna take the day's problems, I'm gonna walk in the house with a fresh slate. I'm not gonna take the
Right.
issues and the problems that I had throughout the day into the house. So for me, that was different. That was the key. You know, sometimes you got to just unwind because you don't want to take your issues out. Sometimes people have independence because they don't want to take their problems out on their family, on their loved ones, on their kids. You got to give people a little time to breathe, a little time to, you know, catch what they're feeling and catch the pressures of the day. Because I work in the health field, so it's frustrating.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I gotta decompress from that because it's a lot. It's a lot going on with that. It's a lot happening with that. I want to walk in my house with a fresh slate. Like I don't want you to deal with the issues that I had to deal with. I don't want to take that out on you. So a lot of times, yeah, I will take a breather and relax and structure myself out before I walk into my safe space. You know what I'm saying? When a man walks into his home, that is definitely his safe space. That is definitely the way he relaxes, and that is definitely the way things come about, you know? And it's scary, but that's the reality. Sometimes people are so used to being alone, they don't know how to get in a relationship and conduct themselves in a relationship inside a relationship line. They don't necessarily know how to do that. My advice is just take your time, understand the routes that you're going, understand the changes that you're making, understand that, you know, you're thinking for two instead of one, because a lot of times people still have that mindset of you're not always gonna be here, so I have to move and act and rock the way that I rock.
Right.
You know, and eventually it'll all work out. It has to.
It has to.
Because at the end of the day, if I'm starting to feel alone and I'm starting to feel like I ain't got no support and I ain't got nobody in my corner and I ain't got nobody rocking with me, then it kind of makes me feel like, okay, you're teaching me to live without you. And if you're gone for days at a time and I have to do all these things by myself and you have to do all these things by yourself, then it's teaching me independence in a relationship that I shouldn't really want to experience.
Right.
So I should never feel like, because all you're doing is teaching me the things that I should be doing with you, I'm either doing them by myself, and I'm doing it by myself, then it's teaching me, all right, I can live without this person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can live without it.
Yeah.
Rose, you got some tips for the good people on how to, you know, find that balance, like coming from, you know, the deep mind of you? Like, what are some things? How should people value independence, and how should people value togetherness, and how do they find that balance?
I think that you find that balance by knowing your partner and knowing yourself.
We've been having technical difficulties this whole episode. That's why it seems like Big Smash is talking quite a lot. Nonetheless, man, listen, we're going to rock out like we do. Rose will pop back in. We'll give her a second. Find your niche. Find what works for you. Not for what works for her, them, the block, the single friends, the cats, the dogs, grandma, granddaddy, the pregnant chick that keep coming to the club. Don't worry about them, you know, and you got to have that perfect balance. And it might not always be perfect. It might not always get you the route that you want to go or put you in the position that you want to be put in. But at the end of the day, what works for you, works for you. Listen. On the next episode of I'll Explain All This Later, we're going to talk about financial conflicts and money matters. You know, this is we're winding down. After this, we have 3 episodes left until the big season finale, and it's going to be big. You know, it's going to be one of those episodes. So I need y'all to tap in, man. You can follow us on IG at Explanation Loading 2024 or at I'll Explain All This Later Podcast 2024. We got 2 different ones, so you can pick one. You can listen to all the previous episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, iHeart, and YouTube. You can watch all the latest videos. That's where you can catch the recap of the episodes with the fellas, my boy Styles and my boy DC. Listen, shout out to everybody that's been here from the day one, man. Listen, I really want to just take the time to tell everybody that's been supporting us and here for the journey. I appreciate y'all. Listen, for Miss Rose, because I think, like I said, we've been having technical issues, but we're going to keep rocking and rolling. All right, shout out to Miss Rose. Shout out to Miss Nira. This season has been crazy, but I love it, man, because it gives me a chance to have fun and politic in a different light. So listen, shout out to everybody that rock with us. We will see y'all next week. Y'all already know what it is. I'm out.
Thanks for listening to I'll Explain All This Later. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And join us again next time for more outlandish takes on relationships and the dating life.